Some of the best collegiate programs in women's basketball, they will be on display at the Barclays Center on Saturday, December 7th. The event is called the Women's Champion Classic, and it features Tennessee, Iowa, Louisville, and UConn. Joining me in studio to talk all about it is a woman who will be covering this showcase of non-conference matchups. She is a multimedia sports journalist for CBS Sports, the one and only Erica Ayala. Erica, what's going on?
Dexter, it's always great to chat sports with you, but I get to be in studio today. I'm having a great time.
Look, we see each other at different events. It happens, different basketball games, but we haven't done this in studio.
I know.
It's about time.
It is.
But here we are, and we're going to talk some women's college basketball. And look, Erica, I am really excited about this. I'm really, really excited about this showcase here. How significant is it for women's college basketball to have an early season showcase like this, the Women's Champions Classic, in a major market like New York City, particularly at the Barclays Center? Why is this so important?
Well, there's so many things that are converging right now, and one of them is that the New York Liberty are WNBA champions. And so when you think of women's basketball, when you think of women's pro basketball in the United States, right now, Barclays Center, the New York Liberty are at the center and the core of that. Then now you bring in that you have three currently ranked teams that are playing, including an Iowa fan base we know travels well, including a UConn fan base where they don't really have to reach too far beyond Barclays when it comes to being able to find UConn fans. This is huge for women's basketball, but especially for women's basketball and basketball fans in the greater New York area, because we know basketball and New York City go together, always have. Now, when you have realignment and the Big East looks a little bit different these days, I think it's been a while since people outside of the area have figured out just how much we love to ball and to hoop in New York.
Yeah, we know this as New Yorkers. We know how much basketball, how important it is here, and how big it is. The champions, as you mentioned, the Liberty, here representing New York at the Barclays Center, and now you have this showcase. But whenever you have these early season showcases, right, across the sport of basketball, college basketball in particular, how much weight should fans and analysts place on performances in these early season matchups when evaluating these teams' potential for success going down the road?
Yeah, Dexter, that's a great question, because of course you're looking at these teams are not even 8 games in. And right now we're talking non-conference schedule. So when it comes to the meat of their schedule and of their season and how they will be ranked in conference, we haven't even gotten to those games yet. But what we also know is very common in college basketball is that you want to load your non-conference schedule if you're trying to be about it in the in the postseason, and you want to get yourself to the NCAA tournament, not just a postseason tournament. So I think this is a really good testing ground for athletes, maybe like an AZ Fudd or a Paige Beckers, who we'll talk about. They're coming back from injuries, time away from basketball. You also have some rookies that will be coming in, or excuse me, freshmen. See, I'm in WNBA mode.
I see.
You'll have freshmen, first years, if you will, that are coming in looking to make their mark, and they can do a little bit of that with the matchups that they'll see. So it does matter for these teams to get these reps. Now, as far as analysts and those of us in media, I think this is a first really good look and first test, but it won't be the last. A lot of these teams will figure things out. They'll have the tape. They'll be able to refine not just what they're doing, but of course the scout on some of these teams that they might see in the postseason.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so interesting, right? You got the established players, veteran college players, right? You got the freshmen. Freshmen want to show out on the big stage. It's a great opportunity to do that. And for us watching, it's like, okay, how good are these teams? Is it the end-all, be-all, as you said, Erica? No, but it's nice to see early in the season what could be going on. Now, folks, the matchups, they're really good. And when we look at these matchups, first, we've got 2 undefeated teams going head-to-head. Can't get better than that. Tennessee, they're 6-0. They're going against 17th-ranked Iowa, who's 8-0. What are you keeping your eye on in this matchup between the Lady Vols and the Hawkeyes?
So this is a really intriguing Tennessee team. Of the teams that we are going to see, they are unranked, which I found a little bit surprising because I like how they're playing. If you look at what they're trying to do this year, year. They're trying to reestablish themselves. So again, playing some of these matchups early in the season, that's where they want to be. They want to be able to play teams that they feel they might go up against. And then, of course, you have an Iowa team that is moving on from Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin, who was just in the news recently as part of the expansion draft to the Golden State Valkyries. But what I love is that they have a first-time head coach, Dexter, but someone who is familiar with the program. Jan Jensen, 25 seasons at Iowa. This is just her first as head coach. She knows this team, and she's taken us back even pre-Megan Gustafson days. And she knows that this Iowa fan base is loyal, that they travel well, and that they have helped really propel this Iowa basketball team to a national spotlight. And the fact that all of that is converging, so many people wondering what this Iowa team is going to look like post Caitlin Clark. Jan Jensen said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We got this. We are not new. We are true. And so I love that this matchup is going on. Tennessee trying to reestablish roots. Of course, we know the legendary Pat Summitt. So many amazing players coming out of that program. Candace Parker. I mean, you could literally go on and on. Tamika Catchings. So I like this matchup for what it could be as far as reestablishing the field just outside of maybe some of the other teams that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and we'll get to that, right? And so this is why I feel like even for Tennessee in this is one you could pop out, show out. And this one, if you could, it could be a really good win if you get it over Iowa. But Iowa's strong program. We know what they've been nationally, even now post Caitlin Clark. Now, the nightcap. We got number 2 UConn going against Louisville. Louisville also ranked there at 22. Now, we know the Huskies, they've got national championship aspirations. So how important is this matchup for them to solidify their status as a title contender? And what challenges, when you look at this matchup, might Louisville present for the Huskies?
Well, I love that I mentioned the Big East and that, we in New York know basketball. The Big East is a part of that. And Louisville versus UConn is a part of that legacy as well. 19-3, UConn owns the head-to-head between these two teams. When you look at UConn, again, you're looking for players like Paige Beckers and AZ Fudd coming back from injury, AZ coming back most recently. But then again, you have freshmen like Sarah Strong, just able to retool. That's what UConn does, right? They are always retooling. They are able to score at just under 80 points per game, but they keep their opponents under 50. And so that's going to be really interesting for this Louisville team, who also, they have a very strong freshman that they are looking to propel them, but they don't have players that are scoring at more than 12 points per game. So the offense is a little bit different for this Louisville Cardinals team. But I mean, you have to love what Roberts is doing for them. Out of her first few games, almost all of them, she's reached double doubles, including having 21 points in her NCAA debut against UCLA, who's at the top of the table right now this year. So this is going to be a scrappy Louisville team, but that's always how they play. Again, going back to that Big East style of basketball, this is always a scrappy Louisville team. They've been to the Final Four times, but they're looking to get beyond that and really push for an NCAA championship. And I think they have the pieces to start putting that together.
Yeah, and look, they got to like what they're ranking now, but they really want to see how they measure up against this UConn team. Yeah. Obviously, one of the best in the country, and as I said, they have national championship aspirations. Now, Erica, when you look at this, right, which players, because I want to talk about players here, do you think have the potential to either dominate in this showcase or make a significant impact? Because you look, big stage, Barclays Center, nationally televised, players want to show out. Which players do you think can make a big impact in this one?
I'm going to start with UConn because I feel like in some ways that's the obvious place to start.
Right.
With UConn, everyone's looking at Paige Beckers. I mentioned the Golden State Valkyries. It's almost a foregone conclusion, that Paige Beckers is going to go number 1 in the WNBA, and that pick does belong to Dallas. What I like about Paige is that we are seeing her as a playmaker. She can take a game over with her scoring prowess, but what I've seen so far, early returns this year, is that she's someone who is content to get the offense going. Now, she'll take it over if she has to, but again, you have Sarah Strong, you have Fudd coming back, and I do see that Paige Beckers is playing that role, that she's able to do that. Now, when you look at who they're going to be playing against, a little bit of a younger team. Again, a team that really scores by committee. Again, Roberts and Jada Curry are their leading scorers right now. They are very fun to watch. They play a high tempo, very NCAA basketball style. We're running, we're scoring, it's exciting. And so those are players from that Louisville team that I think that we're gonna wanna watch. Now for Iowa, a team that is trying to figure out, at least have the media figure out who they are post Caitlin Clark. And that is coming through a transfer in Lucy Olson. Now, Lucy Olson, they did one of the showcases abroad. She missed the last handful of games with a knee injury, but is expected to return to the lineup. She's their leading scorer right now. And then someone else that I think you have to look at for this Iowa team is Hannah Stolke. Now, she's someone who's coming up, has been under Caitlin Clark and has worked with Kate Martin. And what Stolke is looking to do is to expand her shooting range a little bit. She's taking three-pointers now. You know, she's a post player taking three-pointers. You know that's what she needs if she wants to go and play at the next level. Yep. But that's also what you're going to need as an Iowa team that wants to be competitive in the NCAA now. So I think that's someone that we have to look at. And then, you know, you look at this Tennessee team, and you have, Z Spearman and Talasia Cooper, who they combined for all 22 points in that their team scored in the fourth quarter to get a massive win over FSU, a very big, bold statement win for them. So they have players already that can take the team and put them square on their back. And that's why they are one of the teams that comes in undefeated into this tournament.
Hey, if you're looking for players, you want to see some ladies who can hoop, you're going to get it in this showcase because plenty of names you mentioned. Paige Beckers obviously is going to be the headliner, the name everybody talks about. There's a lot more here than just Paige, who's obviously a really dope player here. Now, Erica, last thing for me is, what role do events like the Women's Champion Classic play in promoting women's basketball to a broader audience and then also attracting newer fans? Do you look at this event as one that can do that?
Oh, absolutely. I think we're seeing this across sports, right? If you look at the NBA, they're doing everything from the design of the court and playing overseas. And I think that, and abroad, we're seeing that that's happening at the NCAA level. There's so much investment that's happening, and that includes the groups that have invested here to have this women's showcase at Barclays Center. And it comes at a perfect time. Again, the New York Liberty are the WNBA champions. They will have their ring ceremony and raise that banner on May 17th when the team comes back into town. But this is a great time for women's sports. It's an excellent time for women's basketball. And again, women's basketball, at least for right now, comes through New York City, including with this showcase here today. And so I love it. We're going to see, again, a community that loves basketball be able to see high quality basketball on the women's side.
It's beautiful. You're going to be there to cover it. It is the Women's Champions Classic. If you're watching this, there's still time. It's going down on Saturday, December 7th. 2 games, doubleheader, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. Erica Ayala, the great multimedia journalist who does a great job covering women's hoops for CBS Sports, will be there. Erica, finally got to talk some women's basketball in the studio.
I love it. Thank you so much, Dexter, for having me.
Appreciate you. Enjoy the games yourself and everybody else. You enjoy those as well.